One of the fun things about the preseason, in my opinion, is getting to see some players play who you maybe wouldn't otherwise get a chance to see. In the 2023 NFL Draft, the Lions drafted Hendon Hooker with pick 68, and Hooker was a really unique prospect because most people kind of liked him compared to some of these other quarterbacks taken. People kind of put him not too far off from like Will Levis and Anthony Richardson in terms of talent, but he was an older prospect, and he was coming off of a pretty bad injury. And so because of that, he fell in the draft, and the Lions, who didn't need a quarterback, said, well, let's just take a flyer on him and see how it goes. So now we get to finally see him recovered from the injury, playing in the preseason. Very exciting to see how it's going to go. Unfortunately, he did get a concussion in this game and had to be taken out. But still, we got to see some playing time. And for him, playing time is the goal, right? I think right now, he knows he's not going to win the starting job with the Lions, so just try to win the backup job, and then you can hopefully hang around long enough to get an opportunity in a regular season game, right? So that's kind of the goal, and let's talk about if he's shown enough to potentially get that. First, we'll start off with the play you see on the screen. It's a zone coverage concept, and you see how this route concept can work for the Lions. A lot of guys going from the offense's left to the offense's right. Hooker is going to, something we'll see a lot, fake a handoff and roll out. They were really constantly getting him on the move, which is what Ben Johnson even does with Jared Goff a decent amount. But certainly if you have someone like Hendon Hooker who can move, this is what you're going to do. So because of that Giants player, the edge rusher, he is someone who's going to be unblocked on this play. That's just kind of how it works. You leave that guy unblocked because hopefully he takes a step in with the fake handoff, and then by the time that the quarterback has started to move towards the bottom of the screen, it's too late for the edge rusher. However, when Hooker does start this play, I would say the edge rusher is doing this a pretty good job here. Not ideal because he didn't know the play concept. He didn't just guess what the play was, but he is doing a good job once he realized that it is going to be a quarterback run, getting back. So I'd say this is pretty good defense. But for Hooker, he has a couple of options. I mean, he could look to throw. There is a tight end who could maybe gain some yards. That's not what he's going to do, though. Instead, he's going to use his legs, something that worked a lot in college, and here it nearly gets them to first down, but it was a pretty good job by him, and also shows off that he can move pretty well, even against a good a defender making a good play. Doesn't matter, because Hooker was still able to definitely do a nice job on that one. You also had something like this, which is definitely very fun. It's again going to be one of those rollouts, so that's the way this is going to work. Again, Hooker runs this play action, does roll out towards the top of the screen, and it's a bit more of a wonky situation because if he wanted to throw, he'd have to throw across his body. So running definitely makes more sense in this situation. You saw how he ran by the edge rushers again. There is a Giants player who's coming in and could take Hooker's head off right here, so you got to be careful. And for Hooker, I think a lot of quarterbacks might just slide, but for him, I mean, like I said, he's got to win a job, right? He's got to get a backup job. You don't know how much playing time you're going to get, how much, tape you're going to be able to just have. So when you have opportunities, you kind of just can't, play safe here. So watch him juke that Giants player out, runs over another Giants player, and then dives and picks up some yards. I mean, that's going to get people excited. Of course, the reality of the situation is, okay, that's fun when you're a backup, and you can kind of afford to do that when you're a backup because, if Jared Goff misses 3 games, if for Hooker, okay, it's kind of more worth taking those risks because the potential, if you get injured for the season, it's not the end of the world if you're a backup. It is if you're a starter. That being said, you don't want to get injured. You want to protect yourself. So there is going to be the dilemma of, is that a smart idea? Here, hey, it's always a smart idea when it works, right? You got the first down. But for something like this, I just wonder how the Lions view these types of plays, where, again, it's going to be kind of the same thing, roll out this time towards the bottom of the screen, so in a way where he can make a throw easier if he wants to. As you see, Hooker, runs this play well, gets towards the outside, and right here, again, there's a decision. If this is Jared Goff, he's making the throw. He might actually even, Goff's pretty good at scanning the field on these plays. He might even get the tight end who's kind of all the way towards the top of the screen, get a touchdown that way, or at least, have a chance to. Really, the tight end closer towards the bottom of the screen, right around the 10-yard line, the 10, where it says 10. That's usually where I think you would throw to. Instead, Hooker is going to decide, hey, I'm pretty good at the football. He runs himself, but he gets hit. those are dangerous. And again, he ended up leaving the game due to a concussion. Like, that's a dangerous play, and it's something that you're going to have to try to protect yourself a little better, because otherwise he could, it doesn't matter how good you are if you can't play. If you're a backup and you keep getting injured, eventually they'll say, well, we're going to just get a backup who can stay healthy. I should also talk about the actual passing, because he's a quarterback who we barely talked about the passing, but the passing wasn't too notable, which is why I think the rushing was kind of, in a positive and negative way, what we saw more of. This one is going to be a man coverage play. It's a blitz, actually, and you see the route on the screen. Pretty good route against this coverage. Hooker is going to take the snap. He looks in this direction. It's open, so okay, again, not the highest degree of difficulty play, but it is a 3rd down and 5. That's worth noting. So you can't just get the completion. You have to get the completion in a way where the receiver can continue running after the catch and pick up the 1st down. That's very important. That's exactly what Hooker does. He's able to get a completion, and they're able to pick up a decent amount of yards. Really good stuff. Again, that's exactly how you want that play to be ran, right? Although the flip side is you do have stuff like this, where the way this one is going to work is it's a zone coverage concept. You see the receiver on the screen and how he's going to try and get into a gap in coverage. Again, something that on paper can totally work. Hooker is going to take the snap. He looks in that direction. He fires in that direction right here, and there's a window. This is an open play. However, the throw is just off, and you always wonder with these types of things, how much of that was just it being a missed throw and how much of that was a miscommunication. Sometimes these aren't even the quarterback's fault, even though you assume they are because it's a missed throw, because sometimes the receiver was supposed to go a little bit differently, or maybe it's just a situation where the receiver is, things like the receiver is kind of trying to get closer towards where the gap is, but Hooker doesn't realize that and is throwing it to where it should be by the book. And these things become even more difficult when it's preseason and you might not have had a ton of time playing with this guy, right? Like maybe you're usually on second team and he's usually on third team, or things like that. So that's always what can get confusing as well. But still, regardless of whose fault it is, it was a throw that wasn't complete. Happened a couple times as well, so something that he's going to have to work on. So yeah, I thought Hendon Hooker played well in this one. Like it wasn't perfect, and like there are some things you have to question of like. The reality is, not every team is going to want Hendon Hooker as a backup because he is someone who could get injured with his play style. Like, that's just a reality of the situation. So you have to pay attention to that. But as a whole, hey, he showed some flashes. I think that he's certainly, hasn't played himself out of the league or anything like that. Hopefully the injury isn't too bad. You never know with concussions. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Hendon Hooker. Should mention at the end of this video, I do have a movie channel. If you like watching movies, check out that. I have like a Stanley Kubrick tier list, a Wes Anderson tier list, some other kind of different movie topics that I like to talk about. So that seems like a kind of thing. The link is in the description for it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Hendon Hooker. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.